podcast where we talk about movies and other nerdy things. This is a special podcast. This is the third podcast you will hear in our Black Panther week, and I got a hell of a crew for everybody today. I called in some Allstars to talk about this movie and bring a different perspective than the other two reviews you had. If you haven't heard the other two reviews, make sure you go to patreon.com/BlackAstronauts, where you can hear our spoiler review with just the nerds. And on our main feed, we have just the ladies doing their review of Black Panther as well. So, with that being said, I'm going to go around the room and talk to some of these people. Justin, what's good with you, man?
How's it going, man? Hey, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I am excited to talk about this movie. I'm excited to revisit Wakanda.
Absolutely. Now, Justin, this is your first time on the network, man, so thank you for coming on. Tell them about your network and your group of shows, your network of shows, duh.
That is so weird to hear. Like, oh my gosh, I actually have a network now.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
So our podcast, our network, 3/5 Podcast, it is myself and my good friends and co-hosts, Eric, Bree, and Ash. And we sort of just, on our main show, we just talk about the week. We talk about the issues of the week, the main stories of the week, or something interesting that we've all been researching that we want to take a deep dive into and sort of break down to its base level and sort of find out why certain things happen or why certain things happen, what's causing these certain things to happen sort of in our cultural zeitgeist. And we go from there. We try to make it fun. We try to make it relatable. And at the end of the day, we also try to have some jokes because we do talk about a lot of heavy topics and it can get a little bit draining. So we want to try to inject some fun in there when we can. We also have a brand new show. Junie and Megan are super dope. I'm attempting to cut back on my cursing, but it's hard when one of our shows actually has "as fuck" in the title. But Junie and Megan are super dope as fuck. Junie and Megan, new addition to the network. They're awesome. They're amazing. They tackle politics and pop culture on their show. They're just an absolute delight and joy to listen to. Definitely give them a listen when you can. And we also have Rolling 12s, our tabletop gaming podcast, which is on brief hiatus. We had a family emergency, but now it's back up and running, and you can expect new content for them every week.
Y'all were doing Fiasco last time, right?
So we started with Fiasco, then we moved on to our custom sort of tabletop Dungeons and Dragons style game set in Houston, dealing with vampires and vampire culture in Houston and how that sort of relates to the Black experience, because you can do a lot of interesting things with immortal vampires and the Black experience across time. And that's sort of what we're exploring and we're experimenting with. Fiasco is coming back. I've written 2 custom scenarios. Hopefully we can debut one at Universal Fan Con. But yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun with Rolling 12s this year. We're going to do Fiasco. I'm setting up a Pandemic playthrough. I'm setting up an XCOM review, and I'm hoping that once I get my official copy of Verse, I want to do more Verse playthroughs with the official deck and the official playset.
Hey man, that has got all my nerd senses tingling at one time, dog. Like that, the amount of tabletop gaming I did when I was younger. Yes, I will listen to this show, and y'all should too. But thank you for coming on, man. Definitely appreciate you, man. We're gonna get into this review, but before we get into this review, got some more people to talk to. I like to call this man Dose, or better known on the podcast streets as Aaron Rand Freeman. What's good, man?
Hey, what's going on, my friend? That's what they call me here. I don't know how that got all the way to Oakland, California, but they call me Dose too. So it's good to know that I'm second coast to coast. That's wonderful. Thanks, Aaron. It's wonderful.
So tell them about yourself and about your network.
Well, Fresh Wakandan. I have a podcast network, the Unreasonable Fridays podcast network. 3 primary shows: the Unreasonable Friday show proper, me and Dasha Mitchell. For the most part, we like to give really silly reasons for commonplace things and really try to explain some of the ridiculous things that happen in the news cycle. A lot more ridiculous stuff happens in the news cycle, so we tend to lean one way. But that's one show. Another show is Ad Space with Elise Bacon, where we chop it up with some about nerd culture and so on. And the third show is the Cuntcast podcast with Najela Reed, where we talk about, lately she destroys white people and dudes, as they should be destroyed every single week in a variety of different ways. And
yeah, I see absolutely no problem with anything.
Right. Fantastic, bro.
So I've been a supporter. Love the shows. Again, anybody that's on this call today or on this show, man, like y'all gotta go check them out. If you rock with us, you'll love what they do. And we got a newcomer as well to the call. Dpalm, what's good with you, man?
How you guys doing? Sorry, I'm a little late.
Dpalm from MTR Network. Dpalm, could you please tell them about your show and your network?
Over at MTR Network, I am an editor, and that means I just co-host too many things. I co-host our Super Tuesday recaps, where we review Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow. I'm probably forgetting a show. We're also co-hosts on the Character Corner, where we do a deep dive on your favorite comic book characters, an hour or more spent on one character. And we also have our comic book clubs. But the main thing I'm here are known for is I host the sports show over there, Unanimous Decision Podcast. Every week it's a unique look at sports through a lens that's a little less serious than sports pretend to be, but try to also tackle the bigger issues.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I said, one of the best networks out there for the comic-related things. One of my go-tos as well. So definitely check them out. And last but not least, we got some people y'all might be familiar with. It's Rod and Karen from the Black Guy Who Tips. What's good?
How y'all doing?
Hey, thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be on the BlackAstronauts that tip with us.
Hey, it was so good when you almost broke, bruh. Because I was like, he gonna do it one day. You the only one that hasn't done it.
Almost got me, bro. Almost got me, man. But we appreciate you having us on. We love Black Panther and can't wait to talk about it some more.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell everybody about, where they can find you at?
Oh, yeah. This never gets old. We are the Black Guy Who Tips podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on iTunes. Just search the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. Leave us 5-star reviews. Go to the BlackGuyWhoTips.com and you can check us out there. And we appreciate everybody takes time to listen. And of course, we have a various amount of premium shows, but I will just mention one called The Nerd Off, which Aaron is on all the time. Because hey, look, it be the middle of the day on Friday, and it's nothing better than nerding out with my boys. So make sure you guys check that out. Because if you like Aaron, then you'll like us.
Yeah, most of my listeners like everybody but me. So yeah, that's not it's not actually bringing nobody to y'all network. Sorry about that.
Okay. I'll ask Feek what's up or something. I don't know.
that's the good choice. Right.
Right.
So let's get into this review, y'all. Let's talk about Black Panther. The movie itself is a phenomenon. Let's just say it is, in my opinion, one of the best movies, if not the best movie Marvel was ever come out with. But the first thing I want to talk about is the experience, the build-up leading to it and the payoff of actually having the movie be good and the payoff surrounding it, like the environment. So where did everybody see it at? I'll start with you, Justin.
So the first time I saw it, it was at a screening in Tyson's Corner. Another one, I've never seen this many. If you know anything about Northern Virginia, I've never seen this many black people in Tyson's Corner in my life. Like they filled out an entire theater. I'm like, oh wow, every single black person in the Tysons area is in this theater. Awesome. And watching it with that group was very similar to the first time I saw Get Out. Like, I feel like if you're watching this in theaters, it has to be with a certain crowd because they react to certain things that another audience wouldn't pick up on. Like, there's a very minor thing in the beginning. He looks at T'Challa. That got uproarious laugh, just that side eye she gave him. I don't know if that is a distinctly like black culture thing, that side eye. I don't know if that translates well to another audience, right? So it was just amazing. There's a couple jokes in there. The first time I saw the movie, a joke was told by Sherry, and I missed the rest of the scene because the entire theater was laughing for the rest of that scene. I'm like, oh, and we've already cut to the next set piece. I've completely missed everything that happened. But it was just a great experience. It was a great experience. It was great seeing it with a bunch of like my people. It was a great seeing it with a bunch of other Black folks. It's something that we hadn't seen before, and it was just an amazing experience.
Yeah, I second that. It was an amazing experience in the theater. What about you, Aaron? What was your experience in the theater?
I saw it in Oakland, California, at an all-black, specifically an all-black in advance. Somebody had rented out the theater, and it was just literally listed as the all-black viewing. Because when I went to the theater, there was a mixed group of people, and I was like, well, okay, I guess Oakland's filling with white people, whatever. Let's enjoy the movie. And then we looked into our line around the corner was 300 Black people in costumes and suits, and like some Hispanic people, and there's like one dark-skinned Asian person, all in suits and costumes, down for all the way around the corner, 300 of us deep. And I was like, oh, that's our showing. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And we went there. Before the movie, there was the Black National Anthem sung by a local singer. There was Senegalese dancers for a 10-minute concert. And there was a Beyonce dance party. That was impromptu because the DJ was like, watch this, and put on 8 Beyonce songs in a row. And then all the Black women started dancing after about the third one. And that was that. So yeah. And it was because of the sudden, I didn't realize until I was midway through the movie how rooted the movie was in Oakland. It was very much like a Warriors game. There was lots of cheering. I missed about a fifth of the movie. And it took a lot of killmongering for him to not become the hometown hero.
Right.
It took a lot of killmongering for us because at some point, half the audience was cheering for Killmonger, and then he went south, and the Black women went first, and the Black dudes went second. But initially, though, Oakland was great. It was a good time. Very, 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 very Black. Very Black.
Dpalm, what about you, man?
I don't know how familiar everyone is with the geography of Atlanta, Georgia. But there are certain parts that people say, oh, it's a very integrated, progressive city. No, it's very segregated. And I was actually flying to New York for one of my old teammates' weddings that afternoon. My flight was at 4, and I thought it was at 5. So the ticket was at 11. And we went to go see this showing, and we're off Camp Creek Parkway for anyone who knows Atlanta. We're very much in Southwest Atlanta. It was a full parking lot, and I was just, and we got these 2 seats. I was like, this is meant to be. We got there late because it's me, and it was perfect. It was everything I hoped it could be. It was like, it was one of those situations where, yeah, there was laughter and there was moments, but largely, this was the quietest theater I've ever been in. It was appreciative. It was like, from the work from Jump Street, it was like we're all in this shit together, and it was wild, man. It was something I haven't got this chance to see it again. That's on me. But I don't know if I can recreate that moment because, like, the credits hit and nobody moved.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my watch like, yo, I really got to catch this flight. But I didn't move. I stayed, and I made the flight. So hey, that's what matters.
Absolutely, man. What about you, Rod, Karen? How was y'all experience?
It was very fun.
It was a lot of fun. We
got there 40 minutes early, but we thought we were 20 minutes late because we were on CP time. There was a glitch in the AMC's machine or whatever that said the movie started at 6 and it actually started at 7. So, but that was the ancestors looking out for us.
That was the Panther guy right there. He let you know.
I would like to thank Hanuman for that. The ape god.
We was flying down 45 too, because I was like, well, I wanted to do this. And Roger was like, we got to go. I was like, okay, guess I won't be doing that.
I looked at my phone at 5:58, and I went. Something said, check the ticket time just one more time. And I checked it and I was like, oh shit, it's 6, not 7. Karen, we have to go. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I apologize profusely as I was putting on my clothes. And we looked like James Bond driving down the rush hour traffic. I definitely risked my life to go see Black Panther. I'm not even ashamed of admitting it. But we got there. We were 40 minutes early. We got to relax. People were dressed up. People had Wakanda shirts on. Women had African skirts. People had dashikis on. And it was a wonderful viewing. Unlike Dpalm, people did get up and leave when the credits rolled, which is how I knew that the movie was gonna make all the money.
Right.
Because that meant a whole lot of black people who don't even watch Marvel movies came to see this black ass shit and was good.
I'm good. That's it. All right, I'm out.
Right. My favorite part is that nobody even could tell them to sit down. And then on the way out of the theater, white people was moving out the way, letting us leave first, opening the doors for us. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Haven't had that since I went to the Negro Museum in DC.
Right.
And for me, this entire experience was fulfilling because August 9th, 2013, I told a young man named Black Canseco, who no longer exists on Twitter, and Insanity Report, which you guys may know as Chris, my friend, I told them that Chadwick Boseman would make a great Black Panther. And so this was years in the making in my my fan fiction, and it all came together on screen, and it was better than I ever could have imagined.
Yeah, my experience was similar to Justin's in a way, because I went and saw the screener, and then I had to live in the fresh hell of not talking about it with anybody for like 5 fucking days, and it was the worst thing ever. I don't see how, I don't screen all the movies. I don't see how y'all do it, Justin. Like, I have no idea, because if a movie is this good, I had to get out of my face. I didn't get on Facebook for like 3 days.
The worst part was I saw it before Tiff saw it.
Oh.
And I wanted to tell her everything so bad, but I couldn't. And so last week I basically just turned off my Twitter. Like, I turned off Twitter. I was on Facebook for like a second. I was like, nope, I'm not doing this, because if I talk about this for too long, I'll violate some protocol, and I'm going to talk about this movie. But it was just really good. It was so much fun, and I'm so happy and blessed we were able to see it again this weekend with everybody that came out to NegroCon, the mixtape, like that. That was just an experience. Again, just like seeing it, getting the theater fully your closest friends, just like kicking it. Like, that was just awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. So, now that we got the overall feel of the movie, let's get into the actual movie of Black Panther. I'm gonna go around the room and get everybody's favorite moments, and we'll just kind of go from there. I'll start with you, Aaron. What was like the standout moment to you that just like left your mouth, just dropped your jaw? Excuse me.
There was the exact moment. Because I was just in a theater that was acting like it was a basketball game anyway, was when Okoye speared that other car from the other car, because the audience started cheering as soon as she looked out the window. as soon as Nakia was like, "What are you doing?" and the audience was like, "Whoa!" So it was just a low rumbling cheer. You know what I mean? It's like when you're watching basketball and somebody's on a breakaway and you're waiting for them to do 360, but you're already ready. And so
it's like every time Randy Moss threw his hand up on a goal.
Right? Yes.
Got him.
That's exactly. And you're just waiting for it to come down with it. So it was like everyone was like, as soon as she stepped out of the car, and then when she speared, because there's like a 2-second shot where she looks really beautiful with her dress fluttering in the background.
That was gonna be my moment. That moment right there was one of the most beautiful shots in the damn movie. When she standing.
Then she threw that spear and spiked that car, and man, they should have just paused the movie for 40 seconds. You know, again, remember N1 mixtape where they stormed the court and the game?
And then I love how before she gets out, she's like, guns, primitive. And then spears them to death.
Did anybody else realize that they were still shooting at her and she didn't have any armor on?
More annoyed than anything. Is like, they're really shooting at us.
I'm real talk. I don't know if you're ever gonna get to it, but I'm like, I don't know if there's a goal, but they've made Okoye is the most powerful human in the Marvel universe by logic. If you think about it, like, she must be the most powerful human in the Marvel universe without any powers, right?
She has to be, though.
She has to be.
Like, how did she even get out of that plane to spear that dude when she knew T'Challa would freeze? Like, how did T'Challa jump down in his fucking Panther suit? Okay, she just jumped down and was just like, "Oh yeah, let me kill this dude real quick. I knew you was gonna freeze."
Yep. He halo jumped, and she was there right there behind him 3 minutes later. He halo jumped.
Right.
She was like, "That's cool." So yeah, she's got to be the most powerful human in the Marvel universe now, right? That's it. Far and away.
I mean, how far did she have to throw that spear for it to track a moving car going at least 80 miles an hour?
Right.
So yeah, I think you might have that summed up correctly. What about you, Justin? What you got?
So I wrestled with this for a while. I actually think my favorite moment is when Okoye throws the wig in the casino. And like, I knew that scene was coming. I had seen that scene before. I knew it was coming. And just watching it, I'm like, yo, that's just the greatest. She distracted a nigga with a wig. She threw the wig at him before she beat him with a spear.
He responded like she threw. He was hit with a flashbang. By the way, she hit him so hard in the face he recoiled like a flashbang grenade went off at his feet.
And then he got flipped over the balcony. Like, that's a great moment. I don't want to have this as my favorite moment because I've beef with Sterling K. Brown. He can't be making me cry every time he's on. I see him in anything.
He's got to be the most powerful mutant in the Marvel universe.
Yo!
Because all he does is make us cry immediately on sight. Like, that's not normal.
Well,
that's not normal.
Well, see, that's the thing. I called him an emotional terrorist. That's what the fuck he is, man.
He is an emotional terrorist, yo. Like, when he has this conversation with his son in the ancestral plane, and he says, "Oh, no tears for me." I was like, God damn it, Stirrup.
And he has dignified tears. They're not even like those church funeral sobbing tears. They're always like these dignified, I'm a black man still trying to hold it back a little bit, but I can't help it no more tears, and they always get me.
Super restraint tears.
It's Super Saiyan Denzel tear. That's what Sterling K. Brown has.
Every black man on this earth has cried like that before.
Yeah, pretty much. So, Dpalm, what about you? What do you got, man?
Okay, so mine's a little left of center, and I need you guys to bear with me. I was nervous about a couple aspects of this movie. Chief among them was M'Baku because Manape is a ridiculously racist character. And in the moment when he says, "I'm going to feed you to my children," he goes, "Nah, I'm just playing. We're vegetarians." I was like, oh, that was a heat check. Because if you can save Manape, you can do anything.
Well, they did that. They slid it in. They slid him in like Mandarin.
Yeah, if you can save Manape, you can do anything. And I was like, okay, we're good. I was never nervous. I wasn't concerned. It was just that for me was the height of like, look at all these things from this legacy of Black Panther that we're going to reclaim and fix and modernize and make work in this beautiful tapestry we've created. They rescued Manape, and that's, for me, that sentence alone is a massive victory.
Dog, my favorite part of that scene is actually after they heal him, and then he's just like, they're hugging and they're having this like moment of like, and now we're gonna go fight together, and then he's just in the background like, are you done?
Yes.
Are you done? Get the fuck out of my house. I saved you. You're welcome.
Got a new person added to the call as well. Phenom, what's good, bro?
Yo, what up?
We right now we talking about favorite scenes in Black Panther. What do you got for, one of your standout scenes?
Anything referencing white folks as anything other than white folks is pretty much all my favorite scenes. Yeah. Because white people paid to go see this movie and helped us push it over $200 million, and we're getting shaded the whole film and laughing at it just like us. We are some colonizers. Like that shit I think is funny.
Yeah, we actually found an N-word for white people. Like, we found a word that actually hurts them.
Yeah. And the other thing is didn't actually happen in the film, but it's just the thought of how bad Tony Stark is going to short circuit when he walks into Shuri's laboratory. Sees that she's eons smarter than him.
If she lets him in.
Yeah, right. I'm really curious to see how those relationships kind of shake out between T'Challa and the rest of the Avengers.
I kind of want to see them get into, because Tony likes to talk shit. I kind of want to see him and Shuri have a back and forth. Kind of just throwing shots.
While Rocket builds a bomb in the background.
Sure. I'll take that as well.
What about you, Rod, Karen? Y'all got a standout moment, couple standout moments?
Yeah, for me, after the fight in Tokyo, she was driving with no shoes on. So I was like, that's me, and I am there for that. And they showed her feet and everything.
Yeah, I think it was sandals she had on.
No, she was barefooted. She was barefooted driving.
Oh,
She had no shoes on.
She took her heels off and she smacked the dude in the face with them during the fight.
That is right.
So
what are those? Mm-hmm. What are those indeed?
Yeah, she was driving with her toes showing and going down the road.
A lot of toes out in this movie.
Yes, it was. I was here for it.
I think for mine, I would probably. Oh man, so it's between two. One of them is Okoye and the Rhino, right? Like that shit was so powerful, and just the comedy beat of the Rhino literally licking her face like a dog, like just like that shit was like, oh nigga, you need to get off that Rhino and apologize. And then the other one is of course Michael B. Jordan's last line in the film, like that shit just hit you right in the soul right there.
Like. When he said that line, when I was looking around, I'm like, is anybody else realizing the fuck he just said? Nope.
Bro, I like, you know what that was? That was the moment I knew for, like, I had already been pretty sure, but that was the moment where it became unquestionable that they gave the reins of control over to Coogler and the crew and the cast of the film and the writers, and just Disney got the fuck out of the way and said, here's your money, bring us back a movie, because all the things people were afraid of with a black director in this film, they were so, for years they're not gonna let us do our thing. They're a big company. They don't want to see all this race shit. It's not gonna sell. They're gonna be afraid. They're gonna put a white dude in there and make him save the day, and Captain America's gonna show up and all this shit. And that line there, I was like, I don't know how hard they fought for that line, but that's the line.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, but between that line and then the whole scene with Sterling K. Brown, those were the two gut punches of the movie. And for me, those were both the times when the tears actually started coming down. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening. You know what I'm saying? And did anybody else like feel that way? Did anybody feel those type of emotions around the movie?
Oh, I cried several times. The first time I watched it, I feel like I cried through the whole film. The second time I was straight, but the first time I was just like, the whole thing was overwhelming. Just from the fact that it got done, that it was done so well, that it was so unapologetically black, that they got so much like low-key like feminist theory in there, and like it was just like this. I don't know. We go through so much online, and you see all these like rifts in our communities and all this like. We always feel like we're leaving somebody behind whenever we're talking about black shit. And it just felt like one of the most complete efforts for including a lot of different types of people in a heroic black story. So yeah, I mean, all of it, Sterling K. Brown, all that shit. It was great.
Go ahead, Dpalm.
I would just say on the emotion side, for me, I held it in through the movie until the last scene. So who are you? And just having them invert the Iron Man ending, it really felt like a new beginning for it felt like a statement, like that was on purpose. That was they mirrored the ending of their first Marvel movie on purpose, and it was just a statement of what Black Panther is going to mean going forward. Because just as Iron Man set the tone for what we had before, I think this movie is going to set the tone for what's next. You think about the ties, Martin Freeman being a pilot in the 90s, if that ties back into Captain Marvel. Like, there are so many different ways to go from here, but I feel like they positioned Black Panther as that tentpole. But just the question of the kid saying, who are you? And him just smiling, that's when I finally broke. That's when I lost it. And it was just something so powerful to see the representation represented during the film. And also, like Rod said, the more you think about it, the harder it is to grasp the massive feat they pulled off. This is only the second female cinematographer in Marvel Studios.
Wow.
This is echo. This is is anyone hearing that?
Yeah, I heard the echo.
Yeah,
too.
I heard it too. It seems like it might be gone.
Okay.
All right.
So just like Ross said, the feat of even this movie getting off the ground, and there were so many doubters and so many, even in our own heads, like, well, maybe they have to cut corners here. Maybe I'll tell you right now, in a year and a half, we're gonna find out how bad they blew that budget, because they blew it, and Marvel let them.
Well, I think they blew it when they said, "I'm gonna hire every black actor who's ever done it."
Is this the first movie that Perlmutter officially had nothing to do with? Does anybody know? Can anybody confirm that?
I think that's been a while. I think he's been
Yeah.
out for a while. Like Feige took over a long time ago.
The
Like,
fact that Guardians 1 got made told me
Okay.
yeah,
I had at least lost his grip.
So let's also talk about performances, man. We already talked about some of the standout scenes, but let's really dig into these performances. I'll start and say that underrated, in my opinion, is Chadwick Boseman's performance. I think that this movie falls apart without him being the T'Challa that he portrayed in this movie. But I'll go around the call. Start with Dago, just jumping in.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Yeah, everybody. I got everybody. Dago, could you kind of go into what one of your standout characters or performances in the movie?
Dude, there's so many people who stole so many scenes in this movie. Also, by the way, hi, sorry I'm late. You know, I gotta go with Shuri. Like, I loved her. Like, I just love her. I fell in love with her as a person after this movie. Like, I was, like, everyone's talking about how hot everyone is, and deservedly so. I loved, like, her attitude, her character. I love the way that she stole scenes comedically. I thought she was beautiful. She fought so valiantly. Like, she was, like, the most well-rounded, like, incredible character that wasn't, I guess you would consider a major character. I fell in love with her.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Aaron?
I liked Winston Duke as M'Baku, but also because just the excuse me, just because of how many different sides he showed in such small amount of screen time overall.
Yeah,
It was just like, you know, he was essentially, he did cut the same intimidating figure as Manape from the comics, but he was also really warm and really terrifying and really kind all at once. And he was still the same character. He didn't change. They just simply, they're like, let's take all the racism out and make him a human being. And he was very much a human being, and he conveyed a lot of himself in a very, very small window of time. And also he aroused everyone around all people at the same time. And that's also the note in your performance when you arouse millions of people simultaneously. That's impressive. Good job on you, Winston Duke. Congratulations.
I also love how the ape tribe, the Jabari tribe, had like different accent than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody else rolls their R's in the film. They don't, and they have that extra, like, it's almost kind of Nigerian feel to it with that, we will not have it, that shit. Like, it was so well thought out too. That character like ate up the screen, man. It's just amazing.
What about you, Phenom? What you got? What about you, Justin?
I was actually going to go with Okoye as well. Denai does an excellent job just portraying the greatest Dora Milaje of all time. She's their general. She's their leader. She has a lot of human elements. She has a few really great comedic beats. And just everything she does, even the minor details, like that, again, that side eye in the beginning, it's such a minor detail. But when you see it, it's just such a great moment. And she does a great job with it.
Yeah.
And there's one thing in the beginning when she's telling Shuri that T'Challa froze, and then T'Challa goes, "Are you done?" And then she smiles and then casually double taps the staff, and then everyone mobilizes. So even though she's laughing, you know what I mean? Like that type of authority where she was like telling a joke, where she's like, "Come on, 40 of you. Come on, 40 soldiers. We gotta go. We're moving." So I was just like, oh man, it's perfect. So.
Hey, Aaron, can you hear me now? I think I figured out what was going on. My
Yes, you so much
Cool.
better. Yes.
Loud and clear.
All right, so say everything you just said previously. No.
My favorite person was all of Okoye's facial expression. So, Denai, she just acted with her whole face, like she had side eyes that could cut. I mean, everything she said, she didn't have to speak a word. The whole, even when she talked in her own language, that whole, if he touches you again, I'll impale him to his desk. And then he asked her if she could speak English, and she hit him with that when she wants. Like that.
Yeah.
All of her lines were just shade. And I love a shade character. I love a strong ass shaded ass character.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. Denai just kind of held it down. And she was side-eyeing Michael B. Jordan's character the whole film anyway. But side-eyeing her love interest too. Like Daniel Kaluuya, I don't know, man, how he made it off of that set. If she ever went full gay. My man got so many. Wait, did you just switch up on me in front of company?
Right.
That
right.
side eye was too real.
Yeah. There was a side eye when at the end when she stands in front of the rhino, and she kind of says, you know, I'll kill you if I have to. And my wife like stood up, was like, yeah. I was like, oh shit, here we go. I don't know what happened. But yeah, that all of her scenes were amazing. What about you, Dpalm? What did you say anything?
I would say, and I gotta kind of echo what you said because I loved Chadwick as T'Challa. Like this is not the T'Challa from the comics. Like,
right.
This is a conflicted leader. This is not someone who's made the decision to be a great king as opposed to a good man. This is someone who's battling those two sides. And I think that friction, while it's a departure from what we used to reading, it makes it interesting. It's why you can't do like a late stage Batman movie because super competent Batman is not interesting as a character. Super competent, self-assured Black Panther isn't that interesting as a character. But this friction, this desire to be a good man, but also knowing that being a great king means you have to do immoral and wrong things, and the desire to marry the two. It shows you one that the conflict isn't over. Like that, this is ripe for stories for sequels upon sequels.
I like that they also showed fully cooked Black Panther in the beginning when they had 1992 Oakland. Leave us! Like they showed fully cooked Black Panther.
Oh yeah, like you can say, oh, he's softening the outside world, but you got to realize that the generational change is already there.
Yeah, I think T'Challa was great, and I think also he's probably plays closer to the coach version of T'Challa, like where he is conflicted at times. People around him do advise him, and it is tough for him to handle that advice and to try to find the best way to like implement these compromises. And it made Wakanda feel like a real country, like it existed in a real world, as opposed to sometimes in the comic book it can get very much like this shit happened in Wakanda and then nobody knows about it but them. And this one kind of felt like, what would the responsibility of a true Wakanda be to the world, not just Africa, but to the entire world of Black people? And that was just very visionary on Coogler's part.
Absolutely, I agree with everything you just said. But let's keep moving a little bit. Let's get into this conversation that I'm really interested to have.
Oh wait, hold up. We didn't get to name our favorite characters from me.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh,
It's 18 minutes.
All right,
It's 18
Karen, you
minutes.
want to go first?
Oh yeah, my favorite character was thickness. Just everybody was just thick,
Oh.
like a hot fish plate and some thick grits.
I'd like to change my answer. I'm with Karen.
That was my favorite character, cause Lupita, like Roger joked about it, but Lupita did put on a little bit of weight, and she was actually scrumptious, and M'Baku was actually out here baking backs and shit, and having women flip across. So I'm here for the thickness.
Everybody in here was sexy as hell. Yeah, I would say my favorite was actually Nakia, as far as like the portrayal, because it feel like we've seen Lupita kind of be on the screen before, but we've never got to like see her the way that I think a lot of Black people see her on her daily life, which is just like, oh yeah, that's right, Lupita is bae. She's a good actress, you know, like it seems like these roles were kind of elusive for her as like a love interest and shit that would have come for some white starlet would have had these roles so much earlier in her career. But Lupita starts out playing a slave. Then she plays like a homeless African mother, single mother of three who's like living in the street in Queen of Katwe. She plays a stewardess in that Liam Neeson movie. She's in there for 5 minutes. She plays an alien in Star Wars, so she's behind like a prosthetic, you know, like these, you know, the CGI. this is our first time ever really like kind of 5 years into her career. It's our first time being like, and she's also a lovely woman. And I love that as much as people try to like spin this movie about like, you know, the super woke folks are like, it's trying to paint Black Revolution and get us against it by making Killmonger so violent, and that's what the white man want us to think. And I'm like, excuse me, did anyone notice Nakia was right? She had an idea in the first frame of the movie, and that was the fucking whole point of the movie. And she at no point did she say the only way to be a revolutionary is to kill people. And that turned out to be the moral. Like, what are we just like? I'm gotta get a Team Nakia shirt because she was the only motherfucker that in the movie. She was right from frame one and waited for the entire world to come around to her point. She could be like, oh yeah, like I told you. I was waiting on her just at the end of the final frame for her to just turn to T'Challa and be like, I told you so, you know?
I'll say this, Rod, about the Lupita thing. You're 100% right, because people were like, why are you putting her in CGI for Star Wars? I'll say this. When she's creeping through the woods to get the heart-shaped herb, I was like, oh, they really did mocap her for that role, because I was like, oh, that really looks like her. But also, people who denigrated the Star Wars work, that was Disney saying, we're holding on to you. We're going to control your schedule so that we can use you in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Disney saw the value in her, signed her to a multiple picture deal, kept her around. I have no problem with that, but at the same time, all of us on this phone call are like, that woman is bae, but the only time we get to say it is she's on Instagram on the cover of something or at an award show. We should be able to celebrate her being a beautiful actress as well, and it took forever for us to do that, you know, like, so I'm gonna take it while I can get it before she's playing a slave or some shit again next year. I think like if she was some white actress, she would have been in 7 rom-coms by now. Like, oh yeah. This is our first time being able to be like, and she's also extremely pleasant to look at, and she's a dark-skinned actress, and so many, like, you know, it was a lot of shit coming together for me, and I was just rooting for Nakia so much.
Yeah, man, like, all amazing points, man. And what you said earlier about Killmonger kind of leads me to my next point. And we need to discuss Killmonger's arc. I personally feel like he was an antagonist. I wouldn't call him a straight villain. And I feel like, you know, he had a flawed character, but he wasn't right. You know, like what do y'all think about his overall arc and your thoughts about it? I'll start with anybody who wants to go.
I'm going to quote the 4th best Batman movie.
Oh.
At the end of the day, he's a little kid in a play suit crying for mommy and daddy. It would be funny if it wasn't so pathetic. Like, that's what he is. He's a kid that lost his dad and he's lashing out at the world. The world took something from him and now it's going to burn the world to get back at it. He's evil Batman.
Yeah, I don't see him having an arc. Like we get more, especially at the end when you get the clarity that he just wants to kill anyone who ever supported you. That's just that, like Justin said, he's just a villain. He's just a villain. He dresses his shit up in some fancy words. He's just a villain.
You know, he reminds me of Bane a little bit. You remember how Bane was in the third Batman, and he started off on the 1% shit, and then by the end he's like, and I'm gonna blow up the city, and actually it's not even my idea, guys. Like, it was kind of like that, but I love him as a villain because I think he's one of the most compelling villains I've ever seen because of his ability to kind of disguise what he was about the whole movie. Like, I was rooting for this dude. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, and man, it's so deep. Like, I feel like it was purposeful for his rage to know no bounds. And when he started gripping up black women and shit, that was like the telltale sign of like, oh, this is not what he said it's about at all. Like, and it starts to kind of spiral down from like the garden scene, you know, or just like even the way he enjoyed beating T'Challa, you could kind of make an excuse for it. But when he grips up the gardener, you're like, and says, when I tell you do some shit, you do it. You're like, oh, no. This dude is lying. This isn't about freeing black people or any of that shit. This is about destabilization and revenge. So I thought he was one of the most brilliant villains, and it felt like he was an anti-hero for most of the movie. But that speech in the tunnel, there's no two ways to see that. That's literally like, fuck Wakanda, fuck black people, fuck everybody. Y'all kill my daddy, and I want the world to burn.
Exactly.
I think they explained that about his character when he first jumped on, though. Like, his character shows up and immediately kills a white woman and two white dudes in the museum. Okay, they roll out. When fucking Andy Serkis's character tries to run, he shoots right through the girl he was just making out with, you know, 30 minutes earlier, and she's a black woman. So I'm thinking, well, shit, he don't even care about the woman that supposedly he in love with, because when she hopped in the back of that van during the first heist, they was all over each other. I was like, oh, that's his home, that's his girl right there. Like that's the bae. And then he shot Bae through the chest, and I was like, oh, that's not Bae. It was like, when I can't remember the white guy's name, but when he breaks down, well, he's not Wakandan, he works for us. And then later on, he explains like the whole mindset of this kid, because he is a kid. He's still a fucking kid. They explain the whole mindset of this kid. The reality is, once you figure out that that's Sterling K's character telling his son a story as the opening to this movie, you realize his whole vision of Wakanda has been this glamorous world for black people where he ain't got to deal with 90s Oakland. Like, he ain't got to deal with none of this. And one day he'll get to go home and he'll see the sunset, and it'll, you know, Lion King song will play in the background, and his father will return, and it'll be all great. But as he grows up through that hardship, that's not what he fucking experiences. What he experiences is 90 Oakland, gang violence, a lot of fucking built up anger, the death of his father. We don't get any information on his mother. We have no idea who raised this kid when he was left like that. And the fact that he got all of this scripture and all of this shit that his father has as the symbolism of his love for his home country, despite the fact that he was basically giving away shit and had caused deaths in Wakanda at the border. This kid has no hope for Wakanda, and his only driving force, and maybe I just picked up on it early. When I seen his face, when I seen the way he was talking, I was like, yo, this man is hell bent on just burning down that dream Wakanda. He's trying to kill that fucking dream, and that's it. I don't know why I get that everybody was like, oh, you know, he an anti-hero, or yeah, okay, it's a lot of Republicans out here that make some points too, but at the end of the day, you know what the fuck they for. You know, they don't give a shit about the stuff they really saying.
I think he appealed to a part of American black people that identifies with being left behind, and that divide between Africans and African Americans. And a lot of people just got wrapped up in that and was like, let's roll. You know what I mean? Like we've been left behind. We've been separated, and we're angry. You know, we're angry at everybody. We rightfully so. We're angry at the colonizers. We're angry at the people that don't reach out to us and try to make us feel part of that family. And he touched something deep in a lot of black people that I don't think any bad guys ever done before.
I mean, words are smart. He used them really fucking well, but he learned a lot from his colonizers. Like the whole way he infiltrated, he set that whole shit up with Claw. He set all of this shit up.
Remember when he got to the throne room after he said hi auntie, he bragged about, I killed villages, I killed women and children to get here.
I killed my own people. Like he
bragged.
Yeah,
he set Claw up. Like when he told Claw, he was like, you gonna sell that vibranium, right? And Claw's like, he's like, you know, if you sell it, you might run into some trouble. And Claw's like, well, I'm expecting that shit. Yeah. So the fuck was he? Because he can you now to get into Wakanda later on, to get part of Wakanda, the male part of Wakanda, on his side.
And the thing that was also beautiful by Ryan Coogler that made him, like, I think it's one of the reasons we identify, quote unquote, a lot of people identify with him. He also takes him back on the spirit plane and turns him into that little kid. And everybody feels bad for that fucking kid. Like, the fact when you see like the physical embodiment of this nigga never really got over that moment in his life where he lost his father, and you see his own father like sad, like, I failed you, you know? And he's just like, everybody dies. That's just life around here. And it's like, oh shit, this motherfucker never got past 11. And that was it. You know what I mean? And everyone feels bad for that 11-year-old kid, regardless of how fucked up he became. Part of you was attached, and that was just brilliant writing.
I mean, it kind of makes me though wonder about the ancestral plane altogether. If that shit is even really them talking to their ancestors, or just a projection of their internal turmoil. Because like his father cries in his ancestral plane, and it's like it's actually him crying, I feel like, because he ain't got no hope left in the world.
Yeah, when they cut back to the kid's crying. And then
Yeah, that's like Michael B. Jordan wipes away a tear, and it's like it's still maybe a little bit of something good left in me, but in reality, when his father's like, "Oh well, look what I've done," like it's basically like him saying like I'm broken and this is just me. That's why he wakes up out of that shit like a fucking nightmare, and is ready to burn everything down. It's really hard to have any type of sympathy left when you've done some of the atrocities and the malicious shit that he's done. Like throughout his whole life, you can't be wavering. At his point, you done gone full psycho. So any semblance of regret, nah, not now that he king.
Mm-hmm.
That's a weakness. Like that's regret or sympathy, any type of conflict like that, not focusing on your mission. That's weakness. Where he come from? Like, nah, that's not how you survive. You survive by being strong.
I want to touch on something that you guys have brought up with just being able to empathize with Killmonger. I think, like you guys said, a lot of Black Americans not only have that left behind feeling, but they have that feeling of wanting to lash out, of seeing things that are wrong, seeing your marches be met with tear gas and rubber bullets and real bullets, seeing oppression in real time, living with that trauma in real time, and empathizing with someone that just wants to get back and make them feel what you felt.
Mm-hmm.
I completely understand empathizing with that person. And again, that's a testament to Michael B. Jordan's acting and the writing of the character. I also think it's really telling. And in the tunnel, everything he says in the tunnel should, if his actions beforehand didn't do it, everything he says in the tunnel should eliminate any idea that he is anything but a selfish kid lashing out. Because T'Challa tells him, you're becoming that which you hate. And Killmonger agrees. He said, yes, I learned from my oppressors.
Mm-hmm.
I've taken what they have taught me, and now I'm going to use it against them. It's like, he who fights monsters must beware that he himself does not become a monster. And Killmonger said, so what if I'm a monster? It's Denzel in Training Day. He has decided it takes a wolf to catch a wolf. That is what Killmonger has decided.
I'd say him and Zemo should have become a team. They would have been unstoppable as far as breaking up the family goes. Because he starts a civil war within like a day of being king.
Yeah. The thing I'll also add too is I felt that the moral of the movie was very much about the lack of feminine energy in Killmonger's life. I think it was a choice to not have the mom in the film at all, to kind of show like what unchecked masculinity does to somebody. And it's not that T'Challa is perfect. T'Challa didn't want to open up the borders. He didn't want to he wasn't sure about reaching out to and ending their isolationism. He wanted his the women in his life not to come with him to help fight back for the throne. Like it's often the women in his life that give wise counsel to say nah, and those are the things that work for him. It's not none of the shit like even the fight against Killmonger for the throne. Every woman in that room said not to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's when he doesn't listen that he pays this price, and it's when he does listen that he ends up being supported. And the only reason he could win was because of that. And I think that message was loud and clear to me, and that was probably the most powerful part of that arc to me of like Killmonger's self-destruction, because he didn't want to even acknowledge, let alone just being like totally violent towards the Black women in Wakanda as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And also you kind of led into it. I wanted to talk about the stellar portrayal of women in this movie. From top to bottom, the women not only stole the show, they kind of ran the show. And overall, just bravo to everybody on that production team for highlighting women in the way that they did. Dago, you got anything about like some of the portrayals of women in this movie?
I mean, it's something that we just like never see in hard, not even just superhero movies, but any kind of movie, man. It was like I was kind of just in awe of the entire film as it was going on. Like we never see, especially Black women, be portrayed so well-roundedly and like with so much depth and like beauty and strength, and like I, it's I'm not black, you guys know this, but like I couldn't help but feel like so incredibly proud of the movie and like what it meant to everyone that was in that theater with me. Like I was just in awe of the moment, and like I'm like, I think the cinematographer was female, and I think she did an incredible job of capturing the women. I think there wasn't a lot of like how do you put it, voyeurism, I guess, when it comes to the women. Like they're not portrayed as like just objects. Like they have so much agency and so much power, and I think it's just super impressive and a really well done.
Yeah. What about you, Karen? How did you feel? Seeing that representation on the screen.
I loved it in many different ways. I think for me, I love the fact that, not for the fact that they were black women, but for the fact that they were dark, like really, really dark. Like that shit mattered to me. And I'm a member of the Beehive, and I love Beyonce. Don't get me wrong, and she's light skinned, but it's something about seeing dark women and seeing them shot properly, seeing the camera love their skin, where they're not 3 shades too bright, 3 shades too dark, or they look ashy. Like that shit matters to me. I really appreciated them making them a well-rounded characters. And not just sex objects, because a lot of times when you darker, they want to put you in the background and want to make you other. They will push to the forefront and say, no, you're going to have to deal. This is what we look like. So I was here for it, for the simple fact that it was women in the forefront. They was kicking ass. They were fighting. They didn't make them. Every decision wasn't based off of a man. And so I love them being independent, having their own minds. Going, no, I'm not doing what you said, nigga. No, I'm not following you. We not doing this. I am an independent person. I will make my own decisions with or without you. And so I really love that. And I think for a lot of black women, particularly darker skinned black women or dark skinned black women, this spoke to them, and I think that it is time for us to have shine, because the thing is, yes, it's Black Panther. A lot of black men got their lives. They've been waiting for this forever. But a lot of black women got their lives also.
And also, like, it was a varied portrayal, which is why you don't have so much pressure on any one character to represent every black woman, right? I mean, you have Nakia as a love interest, who's also like an activist type and finds her loyalty to her country going beyond just Wakanda, but the whole, like, everybody in the world and Africa and black people everywhere. And then you have the queen, the regal monarch, Angela Bassett, Shuri, the young, comedic but also brilliant techno-futurist. And then you have Okoye, this fierce commander, general, warrior who struggles with her loyalty to her country versus her loyalty to T'Challa. That, like, all of that shit comes into play, and it's so, like, elegantly well done. Each character gets their own amount of screen time, and every last one of them can kick your ass as well. So, like, it's just like there were no holes in this joint. They just figured out a way to just make it so that everyone walked out high-fiving.
Yeah, absolutely. What about what you got, Aaron?
I was gonna say that I think there's a lot of nuance in black women that tends to get reduced. So, say if you're a black woman in a movie, you're not allowed to side eye at all, or your side eye is your entire character for the entire movie. And you're not allowed to do anything. So you're now the sassy black woman, and they cut to you for the side eye, like you're a specialist, and that's your thing that you do when they cut to you. And in Black Panther, they had these incredibly nuanced sequences where, like, if you think about the beginning of the movie, Okoye calls out the mission, and then T'Challa's like, I don't need you, and she's like, all right, and then she flies a ship, drops down, spears the guy, says you froze, shades the king, then they go, says we're home, flies, lands down, issues orders, makes fun of the king, with the sister, and then returns back to what she was doing, and she goes through all of these different motions without, and she's able to have the freedom of movement, if that makes sense. So it's not like so she does have a mean side eye, but that's not all of her character. She's allowed to go be a human, and we see everything that makes her special and makes her a person between side eye, and there's just such a fullness of movement. Like, like Shuri, having a mock handshake where they're making fun of her brother for being the king, and then being, all right, let's look at some of these technological advancements. What are those? Why are your toes out in my laboratory? All right, more technological advancements. And and it's just the level of well-roundedness that they really just, in the minute to minute, it's so full that I just really, it's just my favorite thing about that movie, and actually any movie. It's just my favorite thing about it. Yeah.
But it's, oh, sorry. Well, it's a luxury. It's only afforded to white men in media, and it's like it's just incredible. And again, I was in awe because I was just like, this is actually happening.
You know what's funny is I watched Civil War. I watched Civil War immediately after Black Panther. I've seen the movie 5 times. After the last time I saw it, I went and watched Civil War, and I realized that's the thing is like they go out and they take some, like when they want to loosen up the characters, they don't give them humanity. They throw Paul Rudd in, you know what I mean? And let him Paul Rudd all over everything, which is fine. Paul Rudd is an amazing elite level Paul Rudd. I get it. But they don't, you know what I mean? Like there's like, that's what they do. And when they want to loosen it up, they really only bring in a brown haired white guy to be a smart ass in the movie, and to allow all these black women essentially the same freedom that they give the smart ass white characters in superhero movies was amazing. And all the black women had the freedom to do this.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was going to say, one of my favorite scenes is Nakia talking to Okoye about what they're going to do. You know what I mean? Like that moment just felt like, fuck, I don't know if I've seen black characters get this moment. I've seen white dudes get this moment, this, but I want to do this, and I have a completely different motivation, and neither of us are wrong. Like that shit just felt like who got to write that scene? That had to be so dope.
Mm-hmm.
What were you about to say, Dpalm?
I was just gonna say, not to denigrate Wonder Woman, but I felt like this was actually a stronger portrayal of women in general than that movie was. Because you had the no man's land scene kind of define that movie, but she was a woman who came to man's world and then got a crew of men to follow her. This was a plethora of different, well-rounded women who prop up this entire movie. I was reading somewhere that after Hunger Games and Brave came out, that girls in archery numbers have up 200%. And 7 to 10 new people in archery said it was because of those movies. What's Shuri going to do for girls in STEM? This is one of those things that we're not going to see the impacts of this for years, but it's going to be real and it's going to be tangible.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking forward to it, man.
So I've actually opened up a bow staff company if anyone's interested, for specifically little girls.
And you know what, you're making me think, Dpalm, when you say that. Think about the little girls that went to see Black Panther and seen women in leadership roles telling men what to do.
Right.
There are a lot of girls who have never seen that before.
Right. Yeah.
And so you have to think, you're going to have the future judges. You're going to have the future leaders. You're going to have women that says, hey, I can be just as strong and I can still be funny. I don't have to reduce myself or shrink myself to be respected. Mm-hmm. Like those things were actually shown in the movie indirectly. And I think with us being grown, we kind of view it from our adult minds versus viewing it from the mind of a child. And so, yes, I'm looking forward to, years from now, the doctors and the lawyers and the activists. Because y'all think with Lupita's character, she was an activist. So you have to think the future generation is going to be like, what we not going to do is deal with this bullshit.
And Nakia never gets kidnapped.
Right.
She never gets put in the refrigerator.
She saves him.
Right. And if you look at it from her perspective, the entire movie is literally just a huge inconvenience in her operation to try to free women who are being trafficked through Africa. Like from the jump, she's kind of like, but I was already doing some shit. You know what I mean? And she ends up changing the entire Wakandan foreign policy by the end of the movie. So it's like, we just don't get to see black women get to be like that. And that's one of the things where you have, more than one black woman on the screen at a time, you can do that, because the difference between this movie and say like even Solo's coming out, right? Thandie Newton's gonna be in that as the one black woman. The difference between this and like a Solo is whatever choices Thandie Newton makes, the choice she didn't make is there gonna be some black people like, oh, now see why the black person got to do this, why they didn't do that. When you have everyone making every possible choice, there's no one to be mad at. You're like, well, yeah, Wakabi was a bitch ass nigga, but some other brothers in there had his back. You know what I mean? Like M'Baku came through, and we got to be like, yes, and M'Baku like, thank you for coming through. So I don't even feel that pressure as a black man. I'm used to that though, where we do get to have more than one a lot of times.
Right.
I don't know that black women. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this where black women got to feel the way I feel. That was one of the most powerful feelings, was walking out looking at black women smiling, as opposed to, certain movies I walked out where I had a good time, where I'm like, oh yeah, man, Finn was such a great character. But then I'm looking at black women like, yeah, I'm sorry that y'all didn't get to see like Lupita without the makeup. It would have been dope,
Right.
Right.
That's kind of how it felt about Coco. I mean, another Disney thing where they like were reaching out to a community through a movie, but like, American media doesn't do that for a Spanish language people at all. And I just like, not to take this conversation to Coco or anything, but like, I felt so many parallels. Like, yeah, like there's like my uncle, there's my aunt, there's my abuela, there's like all these people that are being represented in American media that you never see before. I just thought that was dope.
Yeah, I mean, this movie as a whole, people have been calling it a movement. I actually think it's kind of bigger than that overall. I think it's groundbreaking, and we won't see the impact of this for a couple years, but it'll, like this movie has made so much money that it's no way possible that every studio doesn't have a fully fully black cast or fully minority cast. It's going to change things up. What do y'all think about how this is going to affect the industry?
I can't wait for Transformers the movie, the Jazz Story. Directed by Mario Van Peebles.
When this happens, I'm fighting Rod.
I'm gonna be there to see it, but I'm still booing you.
Listen, when Spike Lee is directing the Falcon movie, y'all thank me. Okay, I called it first.
God dang, can we bring new black directors in? We got
no.
That's not how we got here. Ryan Coogler is 31.
I know. You acting like Hollywood. Brandon think Hollywood gonna learn the right lessons. Okay, that'll be a first.
Leave that nigga Spike sitting right there on the next court. Don't bring that
Spike's
up
back.
nowhere.
He's right. Spike's gonna get Cyborg.
Yeah,
good over there. Netflix.
Yeah.
Spike is gonna put Storm.
Instagram, don't do that.
Spike is gonna put Storm in a polyamorous relationship that is very insulting to people in polyamorous relationships. And we're all gonna be right back here in 2 years. Like, I can't believe we fucked it up.
I don't want to see
But that's the quality. If we get black directors making shitty movies, that's where I'm at.
Oh yeah, that's the quality. Storm's gotta have it.
Goddamn.
Storm's gotta have it as true equality.
I hate you so much.
We definitely got black directors making shitty movies.
As long as one of the dudes are Wolverine, I'm there. That's all I need.
Yeah, it's gonna be Bishop, Wolverine, Forge, T'Challa.
See, that's how few black X-Men there are. You said Bishop, and like Forge is Native American and Wolverine's Canadian.
And then you got T'Challa, so you gonna have like her swinging around with all four of them playing them.
Oh, no, I just want to see Hugh Jackman dance at the end of the movie. That's all I guess. that motherfucker can dance. I'm just be real about that. He can dance. That's all.
Oh man, but yeah, I do think it's gonna be a cash grab for black shit. I think the lesson to learn here though is more that Disney clearly gave creative control to the black people. It wasn't just putting their name on shit. It was clearly Disney just went, make the movie. We're going to stay out of your hair. Let us know when it's done and we'll get to promoting it. And I hope studios learn that, not just, look, they had black people running around, because that's not the same.
No, that's not. I got a feeling a lot of people are going to do a bad imitation of this, and that shit going to flop, and they going to be like, what did we do wrong?
Right. Black people don't support shit. Like, we don't support trash.
Come on.
Right.
Like y'all joked about that Cyborg movie. No, that's what that Cyborg movie is going to be.
I've been tracking DC trash movies very closely, closer than any of you, And that will happen. The Cyborg movie will be directed by Spike Lee. Garen fucking T. It'll have Stacey Dash in it though.
But by then, Disney will buy out Warner Brothers.
Right.
You gonna look directly into the camera and be like, "Cyborg lives matter now."
Yes, that's 100% guarantee. Also, the biggest thing I think is I'm hoping there will be no more fucking surrogates for Africans in movies. No more fucking surrogates. We don't need to be gorillas. We don't need to be animals. We don't need to be mists, gods, anything. We don't need to be white people with bronzer on.
Right.
This motherfucking black people.
We don't need to be aliens.
Nothing. No surrogates. There's no need to be. They don't need to be blue people who are sort of kind of Native American because you can't look directly at an African without doing something to it.
Right.
So then just straight up Africa. They will tell a story about black people and they will not flinch on displaying the black people.
I'm pretty sure there's another Tarzan movie coming out, so I'm not sure it's not gonna happen.
The sea change is slow, my friends. The sea of change is slow.
Jamal Hansu out there waiting in the wings, y'all.
Oh, he's cracking his knuckles. He's doing calisthenics right now. He can't wait.
That's the only dude that wasn't in Wakanda. The only dude.
So back off of what Dago said earlier about Coco though, like Disney were the ones who needed to do this, and Disney's been planning this for a while. Yeah. Like that Jungle Book casting was not by accident. Shout out to Jon Favreau. This Lion King casting was not by accident, and this film being Disney's like Marvel's first actual fucking Disney done film. Like all the other Marvel films are superhero comic book movies. They're cool. I love them. They're great. This one is a fucking Disney movie. It's a Disney prince and princess movie. And they nicely put that fucking Disney layout over it and said, oh, but wait, it's a superhero movie too. So y'all might not notice this shit. But a long, long time ago in Wakanda, oh my God, did his father die? Fuck, is that a princess? Nigga, this is a Disney film. And they're prepping with A Wrinkle in Time coming in 2 weeks?
Yep.
Disney ain't fucking.
We're not ready. I'm not ready.
Disney knew exactly what they were doing. Like they've been planning this out, and they were like, you know what's the new black? Black. So that's put money in that.
I think some of the wildest thing about this whole movie is that, like, at the widest lens, it's Ragnarok, and as opposed to Ragnarok ending with Asgard falling, this ended with Wakanda stepping up and going forward. It's such a positive, forward-looking ending, and I want to also make something super clear. Like, we all partied on this movie, but it doesn't break these records if only black people see it.
Right.
Yep. A lot of white people.
The lesson that they need to learn is that the insulting thing they've done to white people is saying you can only appreciate art that centers yourselves, and meanwhile told the rest of us to figure it out. God damn it! They've shown that that the audience that they thought existed, that mainstream white dollar that doesn't see other cultures, that dollar doesn't exist anymore. This is a dollar where the quality of what has been done cuts through that bullshit and empowers people who haven't had a voice.
I think execs maybe have wisened up to this has always been the case, right? With like, it just is a cycle where like black and brown people create a thing, white people glob onto it, a certain class, and then they share it with the rest of their white friends, and then it just gets co-opted, and then black and brown people go make a new thing. Like it's a cycle, and I think some people maybe have become hip to the fact that like if you work with the black and brown people and give them the money that they need to create these grand pieces of art, like maybe that can be beneficial for everyone involved. Maybe.
Absolutely.
I think this is max pragmatism, because I'm not gonna lie to you, like if you cater to a black audience, you will make billions of dollars for 50 years, for the next 50 years. If you just do right by us, we will return the favor. And even if, it's always the thing I've always said, that bigotry is so strong that they turn away dollars. Because you could take the biggest racist, and if he just took $1 billion and was like, you niggers go make a movie, don't talk to me until you come back with one, and they came back with Black Panther, they're going to make that racist $2 billion. But they don't want it because they're that racist. Right. So the level of pragmatism by Disney is amazing here, because they're just like, if we serve all the black people, everything we make will make 20% more than if we did anything else. So Wrinkle in Time will have more weeping black women in it than they could ever have happy white women in it because of what they're doing. And Black Panther has an extra 80, 150% black people just sitting there with tears rolling. They were all Sterling Brown at the end of Black Panther. You know what I mean? So it's like, and they're like, if we do this, like I'm saying, it's like I always say, you can care about black people or you can be a pragmatist, but there's no reason not to do this.
Right.
And it's really good. And I appreciate Disney for seeing something. I don't care if maybe there's just like a Klan member at the top of an office somewhere in Los Angeles. The Grand Wizard said he wants more nigger movies. Or Scrooge McDuck, whatever.
He has the Mickey ears, but they're white.
And they already know that this shit was gonna be good though, because the fucking Avengers Infinity trailer is literally just Wakanda Part 2.
Yep.
Which is
why, by the way,
also probably because that's Act 1 of that movie.
Yeah, I'm very afraid that they put that in the beginning of that movie.
Yeah, you know what's gonna happen, but I mean, this is how we rebuild, buddy. Okay.
No, I'm good with. Look. That's the thing is, people are going to be hungry to go back to Wakanda, and by opening in Wakanda, and if you're gonna invade Earth, you go after the biggest technological center on the planet. It makes sense to go after Wakanda first.
Well, not even that. Nigga, we only know vibranium through the lens of Earthlings. Yeah. We don't know what the fuck vibranium.
That rock hit the Earth. That's a good
point.
That
shit, we don't know what that. And from the looks of it, that shit changed Earth forever. So we don't know. We don't know what Thanos sees when he looks at vibranium.
All I know is
he's a fucking problem.
I want to see at least one scene with M'Baku snapping alien necks, just chilling.
Oh, M'Baku's in the background of that crowd shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
go ahead.
You know, and in the background, Chris from Get Out, because he's in jail.
Goddamn right he is.
He probably gonna be listening to Thanos and shit. Like, this nigga got some good ideas.
Oh shit. So just wrapping it all up, man. I appreciate all of y'all being on. It's been a packed house. I didn't know if it was gonna work out, and it worked out beautifully. I'm gonna go around the room. Please tell them where they can find you at. Phenom, where can they find you at, bro?
You can find me at where'smy40acres.com. You can find us over at MTR network.net doing movie reviews. I just got back from Annihilation. It's gonna be a fun review. And you can also find us on Instagram, Phenom Black, Twitter, Phenom Black, YouTube, Phenom Black. If you come looking for me in the streets, just yell Phenom Black to the moon. I'll probably pop up. You know, I'm wherever the fuck you need a nigga. So,
Dago, where can they find you?
Oh, hey. So I'm Dago. At TEHDAGO on Twitter. Our podcast, BFD_podcast on Twitter, BFDpod.com. Breakfast for dinner, all things pop culture, all things current events. We play games. We try to have some fun in this sick and twisted world.
And y'all have a Patreon as well, correct?
Yes. We currently it's just like a Bachelor. We watch The Bachelor. I'm so sorry for everyone involved. But we watch The Bachelor and we do reviews at the moment. But we do all kinds of reviews. We'll probably do a Black Panther one. Me and Nicole. So, anyways, I'm sure she would have loved to have been here because she loves all of you. So.
Just
love her back.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
She went to Poland where all the white people went during this week, and just that was.
You mean the ones
the
ones who weren't in the theater with us at Wakanda?
Yeah, yeah. She got the call. They're like, we're going to Poland. She was like, I guess I gotta go. I don't know. I'll come back.
Justin, where can they find you at? Tell them about your program, man.
You can find us at 3fifthspodcast.com, THREEFIFSPODCAST, 3fifths Podcast on iTunes, Google Play, anywhere else that you get your that you ingest your podcasts. Also check out Rolling 12s, and if you want to check out our new show, Junie and Megan are super dope as fuck. That's on the main feed for now. We'll work on getting them their own feed once they hit 5 episodes, so continue to support them, and yeah.
Thank you so much. Aaron, man, where can they find you?
You can find me at reasonablepfridays.com. You can find me on Twitter at ANS Freeman, or you can find the show's Twitter at unfridays.com. That's UNFridays on Twitter. And yeah, that's me.
And Dpalm brother, where can they find you at?
Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. I'm always Dpalm66. You can follow the show on Twitter at UDPod. The landing page is udpod.mtrnetwork.net. You can also that's a good place to find everything else I do, including Super Tuesday recaps and the Character Corner.
And Rod, Karen, where can they find you at?
You can find us in the Jabari Mountains on our Bugatti spaceship at the Black.
See, this is why. Damn it.
At the blackouttips.com.
Yes, because we are the Black Panther.
The black guy who tips. The black.
Oh.
We'll be coming live from Wakanda, the morning show.
Our bandwidth never freezes.
Oh my God.
Y'all can also find the show on iTunes, the Blackout Tips. Leave us 5-star reviews and stuff like that. Check us out. And if you want to support our premium stuff, the blackouttips.com/premium. And you can hear our review of Black Panther. You can hear our Nerd Off review, our Nerd Off show, and all that kind of stuff. So thanks.
No doubt. And once again, thank all y'all for being on, man. It was a ball. Glad I got all of my favorite podcasters in one area, except for like 2 or 3 I'm missing. So I really appreciate
and he also got me, too, so that's good.
Here we go. Here we go. I need to talk to you after the call anyway.
I know.
Uh-oh.
No, ain't better. So thank y'all so much for coming out. And until next time, y'all, peace.